Right, I'm gonna paint up this horse now. So as you can see, I've started off by using bleached bone. I'm genuine, not bleached bone, wraith bone. Is it the wraith? Yeah, wraith bone. And I'm gonna get this nicely coloured up. So I'm gonna try a slightly different approach to doing this. Although I am definitely doing a contrast method, I'm gonna see if I can build it up a slightly different way than I might normally do. So I'm going to start off with some of this earth shade, this Agrax earth shade. So normally I don't shade things as the kind of first thing I do on a miniature. However, I've been watching, some other people, and it does seem to be something that some do to get a nice effect. So I'm going to start off with this earth shade, and the way I'm going to approach it, to put it plain and simply, is I'm going to start off by using a shade on the steed. What I'm really hoping is I'm going to get a nice base colour down on this horse. And the good thing about this horse is because it's not really got much in the way of covering, so there's no sometimes my mind just simply shuts off, doesn't it? Cloth over it, basically. That's the word I was going for. It means that I should be able to do this part quite easily. And I think this is where you start to see a big difference between a shade and an ink. So I know a lot of people haven't been particularly impressed by the change of formula from, particularly for things like null oil that people have used for years. And I think that's just purely because they're used to it behaving in a particular way, and if you're used to a paint behaving in a particular way, it's going to be very strange, isn't it, when you use a new one, particularly if it's got the same name and it refers to itself in the same manner, i.e. it's a shade. I'm pretty certain I've got a point to my rambling here. Anyway, I was really annoyed when I first had to start using the new shades. I was like, oh my goodness, why is it not flowing where I want it to? Why is it like a runny contrast rather than a ink that flows into recesses? So for me, it was actually a terrible learning curve. And now I've started to realise that actually, if you use them the way that they were intended, they do the job. However, again, it still doesn't mean that the old formula of the inky style shades wasn't a bad thing, and it would be nice to actually get something like that in the future, because I tend to find personally that these don't work as well if you're trying to do something like a chainmail, or at least that's my personal opinion. You are free to disagree with me. But, I like a wash that basically flows where I'm putting it and stays that, well, doesn't stay there because that's the point of a wash. But, you push it to where you want it to be, and it doesn't really hang around where you don't want it to be. But a lot of companies make those kind of inks, don't they? So it's not like they're hard to get hold of. It's just finding one that suits your purpose. Now, as I said, I'm actually copying what I've seen. Do you know, I always say to myself, I'm really bad for doing this. I see people do stuff online and I don't give them the credit they deserve. And I really should do. I know whoever you probably watch do a technique, it's a good chance they didn't really invent it. So I get it. You know, maybe I don't need to credit them, but I don't know. If I've seen someone do it and they've inspired me, I need to write down names basically and say, you know, this person said do this or showed how to do this, and I'm copying it. Now, this is starting to come along quite nicely, and my intention when it's done is hopefully to have the model all shaded how I want it. I hate little bits like this where I'm trying to record. I've not got the most stable hand, to be quite honest, so trying to do a little bit like this hard enough as it is, and I've decided I tried to put my hiccups then. Tried to put my camera in a position where I could hold it like this, and unfortunately there's a ledge on the edge of my desk, and what it's doing is it quite happily digging into my arms now. Right, I'm going to give that a chance to actually dry, and then while that's drying I'm going to get some skeleton horde contrast, and I'm going to use that to do the mane. So if you've seen my painting my Bretonnian damsel, you've seen me do this already on a different video. Because I want the mane to have a certain amount of kind of similar colouring to the horse's body. I don't want it to be so drastically different, but I don't want them to have exactly the same colour. So I just think the skeleton horde works so well over this bone coloured paint. Get these at the bottom as well. Just push that contrast along without it going onto the horse's body. Yeah, this terrible camera angle. I don't know why I chose this angle. I've tried this painting like this before and it never works. I was hoping I could get away with it, but unfortunately it's the edge of my desk is digging into my arms here. Okay. So we got some nice colours coming along now on that horse. I'm just going to raise the camera up a bit because it's just in my way. Now, this is where I'm going to kind of pick a colour. I'm really hoping this colour works to kind of keep the colouring of the horse as it is, but just give it a bit of a highlight in places. So this could work beautifully, or it could just create a mess. Ballard brown. So here's my dry brush. Here's my dry brush. So get prepping up on my dry brushing here. So basically I need to wipe off quite a bit of this so it's pretty much nice and dry. I don't want it to be too much, to be quite honest, but I still want it to kind of create a nice colouring. So please work. Basically, I'm going to build this up on quite a few layers. And the idea is that I'm trying to build up the Ballard brown. Ballard, saying it with an A, Ballard. Without losing the shading that I've done. And I think it's working. I think I'm getting it. Yeah, I think it's going to turn out just how I want it. A kind of nice dusty brown colour. Oh gosh, no. Saved it. Look at that, wasn't a full pot. Tried doing this horse in two different ways now, so well, not this particular horse, but this colouring of a horse in two different ways. So I'm going to get them both next to each other and decide which one I like best, but for now this is actually looking like a nice blonde coloured horse. I hope you know, you like it. If you don't like it, you know, tell me what you think I should do to improve it. I think this is exactly where I wanted it to be, which I don't know if this is an official like designation for the colour of horse, but effectively what we got here is browny blonde colour to the horse. And that's a nice colouring that I was hoping to go for. I think the other thing is maybe when I was putting that initial brown shade on, I think what might have benefited it is if I'd maybe watered the shade down a bit, because oh gosh, that tail's not stable. Because I think if I were to say anything, I think I can still see too much streakiness under it. That tail is a nightmare. It never wants to stay on for me. Right. So there we go. I will have to re-glue that tail on now, annoying me. But other than that, hopefully, you know, I hope you like the way that I've approached creating a kind of blonde coloured horse rather than just sticking to something like, you know, greys and blacks. You know, I've got other approaches that I've done to this, but I have to admit, I think this particular way of doing it creates a nice colour. This tail's bugging me like crazy. You will not believe how many times it's just dropped off on me, but there we go. I've still got to get a bit under there. That's a kind of dusty blonde colour horse skin. I'm trying to think if I should give it another shading, but I think I'm happy, you know, with how it's looked. I think the dry brush has created the depth and tone that I need. I'm trying to paint things as quick as I can at the moment and see how fast I can do something, and basically trying to work out how to do battle ready miniatures, because one of my biggest problems is some days I need to pick miniatures up to sell them, and I just have too many. I need to find faster ways to do it. So there we go. There's a kind of dusty blonde horse colour. Hope you like it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.